if I traded it all. If I
So welcome back. I've also got another newbie with me, and I have with me Michael Weinberg, and he's the owner of Exceptional Engineering Home Inspections. This just turned out the way this did today. Welcome to the show. You got to tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Thanks for having me, Carol. I appreciate it. So a little bit about me. I am an engineer by trade, and a long time ago, I had a friend that had a realtor. They were closing on a house, and they had a home inspection. And that home inspection had some questions, and so they asked me, Mike, you're an engineer, can you look at this, and is this true? And when I went out there, I found that there were some good, insightful suggestions there. There were also some that were misplaced, and so as that person heard me explain where it would be different, it helped in the negotiation process, helped them close that loan, and helped them close that home properly. And then that realtor was so pleased, they referred me, and it kind of mushroomed from there.
Sure. Now, we're live on Facebook, so say hi to everybody out there.
Hello, Facebook.
Like us, follow us, and then we're going to share the show afterwards, and everybody can see everything that we're doing in here. So you could, when you work with people, you valley-wide?
Yes.
Now, you're here for a purpose, and that's one thing that you kind of wanted to talk to everybody about was why choose your company?
Yes. I can do an inspection for anyone. There are lots of qualified home inspectors out there. I'm happy to do a home inspection for you if you have one, first-time home buyers, anyone. But what I'm really looking forward to helping people with is that investment. You heard your previous speaker talk about it's the single largest investment most people make. And so that particular type of an inspection on a custom home is going to need that particular type of expertise. And so being an engineer as well as a home inspector is going to allow me to give them great insight.
All right, so let's talk about what makes you different, because that's really important.
A little bit we touched on. It's that I'm an engineer as well as a home inspector. Most home inspectors are not engineers. They are in the field in some way or fashion, and they can give quality home inspections, but on the ones that are specialty or niche market, they're going to need that expertise that the engineer can provide.
So what is inspected?
There's lots of things that are inspected. That's part of the state standards. Here in Arizona, we're one of the few states that needs to be licensed as a home inspector, just as I am licensed as an engineer. And so they put out a state standards or a standards of practice, and there's 10 areas really that are in there. Your exterior of your home, the structure, the HVAC, cooling and heating, the foundation, the interior. All of these things are going to be looked at. Your roofing in particular is going to have good insight. We have flat roofs here in Arizona, some pitched. We also have different styles of roofing. And so all of that's going to be looked at in there, but the state standards dictate what's going to be looked at by myself or any other home inspector.
Being that you're an engineer, what makes that so much better to have somebody who that is an engineer as well as the inspector?
We're looking at things from a different perspective as well as the same perspective. I like to tell my clients when I'm giving the wrap-up at the end, I look at the home in three ways. One, as what would I want to know if I was the home buyer? The other is, what do I have to put down as the home inspector? And then what does knowing what we found tell me as with my understanding as an engineer? And all of that gives a very comprehensive look at what the home is, and they can feel good moving forward with that single largest investment.
So I got to ask you right now, what would be the first thing that you would want when you had an inspector look, especially an engineer inspector look at your home and do that for you? What would be the first thing that you would want?
What would I want in a home inspector? Yeah. I would want someone that has experience, that knows what they're talking about, that has the credentials. There's lots of qualified inspectors out there. But if you're looking at this specialty type home, you're going to need someone that's designed homes. I design homes as well. So as an engineer, I know what's going into it. And as an inspector, I know what I have to find.
He's rated with the Better Business Bureau. He's valley-wide. The phone number to call him, it's 480-341-2664. His website is engineeringhomeinspections with an S.com.
Yes, plural.
Okay. So I want to ask you now another question. You said, are you insured? You mentioned it. So are you insured?
Yes. I have my errors and omissions. I have general liability, license bonded, all of that, and actually exceed the state standard minimum.
Okay, and then do you perform repairs only just inspect the houses?
Great question. And the beauty of it is I can address all of those issues different than a traditional home inspector. So I do not do the repairs, but I'm going to give you great insight knowing how it's designed and how it's constructed. Can that be a DIY? Can that be you on the weekend with help of a handyman? Or does it truly need a professional's expertise? And this way I can save you money or have you spend the right money in the right places.
Now, there are a lot of homes out there, okay? And the high-end homes, which obviously would be very nice to have someone like you,
Yes,
who is experienced. He's an engineer as well as he does the home inspection. So you're a two-parter.
Two-parter,
When's
yes.
the best time that they call you?
They call me at any time. I get calls at all odds, all hours of the
I don't
night.
mean like that. For when somebody is about to, obviously sell a home, right?
Oh, yes.
Or whatever, buy. But even some of them are building. What is the best time?
Best time is when they're making that decision process and they're in the process of closing. There's a 10-day window during the real estate transaction process that they have to do the inspection. So calling me the moment your contract is accepted is the great time to do it. Then we have the 10 days. We can address any issues. We can talk about things that we find, and we can look at it. I do home buyer, traditional. That's what most of the home inspections are. But I also do pre-listing. I also do the 12-month warranty on the people who have a new home, and then their warranty's about to expire, and they want to know what's going on with my home.
And so when you come in and you do this inspection, what can they expect?
Oh, they can expect me to make a comprehensive good look at it. They can expect to be with me if they'd like to be. I encourage people to. Again, it's the single largest investment that most people make. So you can shadow me, you can tag along, and you can expect me to look at it from top to bottom. I generally start on the roof, look at that, work my way from the down to the exterior, and then on into the interior.
And you had said to me beforehand, before you came on the show, that there's times that you'll look at something that it either needs to be fixed, and I don't know if you do the fixing or what, but there's times when you'll come in there and you'll see that.
Yes, I will see that. I'll mention that to the buyer. They can come in with eyes wide open. They also might say that that's not a problem, Michael, because we were planning to remodel and we'd like your opinion. Can we remove that wall? Can we do this? Do we really need to fix that given that we're going to be doing this later with the home? Another thing that when I'm looking at the home, back to that particular one, is I'll be able to tell you if the home's been renovated or altered in any way because the original construction may look different when they do that based on the year it was constructed and then the year that the transition took place.
Well, there's something different about having an engineer do your inspection for you, I'll tell you right now. And when they get this comprehensive report, can you tell them what that looks like? It's probably very comprehensive.
It is, but let's not, we don't want to shy away from it. You'll have one that is that comprehensive that you're drumming it up. You'll put that in your file and you'll save that 9 months after you're in the home. You'll look at it or something like that. But the one that the realtors out there are really going to be keen on, the one that the home buyers, as you go through the Binzer process, that's your response to the spuds. When you go through that Binzer process, I'm going to give you a laid out, reduced summary report, which is going to allow you to pick out the action items that you want to look at. You'll be able to say, do I want it fixed, repaired? Do I want compensation for it? Or am I okay with it and leaving it? And then I have a program that will give a running total of that. Very simplified process. Not many other people out there are doing that as a home inspector.
Now, I know that you're very clear about how the kind of, you can do it for anyone.
Yes.
Right. But you're very clear about what you kind of are trying to look for today. Can you tell them about that again?
I think the best bang for the dollar is going to come for the person that is in that custom home, large square footage. It's truly custom, one-off type design where they're going to need someone who knows because the loading conditions are different for a custom home than they are a tract home or a traditional home that's built by a home builder. And so they'll need that expertise to know what's going on, in particular if it's been altered from that original design. Probably or likely not by the original engineer. So you need to know what's going on with that.
You also mentioned, I think, casitas to me, or I don't remember. We were talking so far long ago. Go ahead.
Some of the larger size homes have casitas, and so typically you'll want to have that. They have different power requirements. They have different setups that are on there, but it's on the same property. So having an engineer who understands how the foundations may interplay or each relates to the other is crucial in an investment of that size.
Well, this is something that, of course, he can do almost anybody home. But when you're doing something like you're using someone like you, you're usually going to be doing a home that's a custom home, a home that might have a casita. I want that person. I want to live in that home too.
I wouldn't understand why they'd want to make that investment without that expertise.
Right.
It really is shooting a little bit blind.
Really? So there is really a very good reason to use someone like you. And that's what I love about this show. Because where else but on Networking Arizona would you hear that there's engineers, like, how many are there? A lot of them here?
I hesitate to say I'm the only one, but I want to say very few. There are a few that I know of. I'm not sure that they're still doing inspections, but I am one of the only that does the inspection. Yes.
So he's the one of the only engineers that does inspections. You could check him out on his website. I love your website, too. It is engineeringhomeinspections with an S.com. He's valley-wide. He's rated with the Better Business Bureau. His phone number, it's 480-341-2664. And we're going to go to a break, and when we come back, you kind of want to focus on some of the realtors out there because you work in hand with them as well.
Yes. Traditionally, I work with them hand in hand, multiple buyers.
So before we go on break, what's your final words about what you do for the custom homes and things?
Don't be intimidated by the inspection. Be happy to have it. Go in with eyes wide open.
And you know what? He's one of the only engineering inspections. Is that how you say that?
Sure.
Who is out here. The number to call, 480-341-2644. Welcome back, everyone. We're talking with Michael Weinberg, and he is the owner of Exceptional Engineering Home Inspections. And I said the number wrong as I left the show. I'm losing my voice, too. So it's 480-341-2664. And Michael is one of the only engineers that also does
home inspections.
So it's, and it's not for everyone. We know that because you are an expertise. There are other people that are very good at what they do, but they're not engineers. And so it makes it quite different.
That's correct. Really, that's who it's marketed to. And I think that it's going to get the best value for them.
Right. So here's what we're going to do. We want you to go and check out his website, and it's engineeringhomeinspections.com. He's valley-wide. He's rated with the Better Business Bureau. He is insured up the gazoo. I know you're up to...
Yes, over the minimum, and that's in particular because of the homes that I typically look at.
Now, the phone number to call him is 480-341-2664. All right, let me go into this because you also said to me before you came on that you're very specific that you wanted to talk about what you do, but you also wanted to talk to those realtors out there. Yes. And let's talk about why.
Yes, I'm glad you asked me that because the realtors are really who the majority of the work comes from. They're either referring a handful of the inspectors that they've worked with in the past or they're referring just one off to them. And me being a licensed professional engineer, I absorb that liability because it's my stamp and seal that goes on each and every report that I put out. So I'm able to relieve them of that burden of, I referred this guy. If something goes wrong, what happens? Well, that's where I step in. That's where the license steps in as an engineer. All of that stuff is good things for the realtor.
Now, does your company reduce realtor, we just said that, the liability?
Yes.
So for you, it comes on to you and not for them.
That's right, by referring.
And so there's a lot of real estate agents out there, one on every corner, as a matter of fact. But I want to ask you, do you work with a specific type, somebody that does work with more high-end homes only, or what?
I have a mixture. Most of the realtors in the Valley will be doing a mixture of homes. In fact, you have some that are listers or some that are buyers agents, but you do have ones that are doing both, and any of them will work in all of the home sets and all of the home markets. They'll know somebody that is working within a particular price point. So I work with realtors that have $1 million homes one day, and then they'll have their traditional starter home or a condo or an investment property as another.
Now, do you provide wrap-up while on property? Now, before you came on, I said, what is that?
First of all, wrap-up?
What is it?
All the realtors out there know exactly what that is. And so the wrap-up is very crucial to giving that instantaneous, if you will, impression of what the inspection revealed about the home. So yes, I do. All of the pictures, I take a comprehensive set of pictures, hundreds of pictures while I'm out there, and we go over those there at the wrap-up. And if we pay particular attention to the areas that are focus points, they're going to appear in the report later. So you come to there, typically most people will come with a pad and a paper. In the end, they put it down and just start listening and looking at the pictures, knowing full well that stuff is going to be followed up by the summary report as well as the full technical report. So the wrap-up is going over all of the pictures and everything that I found while at the home.
So you do that with the realtor.
With the realtor, if they choose to
Does
be
the
there.
homeowner,
The
too?
homeowner's typically there too, so I
Okay.
do it with, sometimes it's just the realtor. If they're out of state, I do many out of state ones. We'll Skype, we'll do iPhone or FaceTime. Sometimes where we're holding up the phone, I'm talking to the FaceTime, showing them the pictures with the other phone, and we go over that.
I want to make that clear with what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say that you do many out of state,
Yes.
does that mean that you go out of state too?
Sorry, clarify that.
That's why I did that.
Out-of-state buyers who are buying first time, coming from California, coming from the East Coast, and they're here to Arizona. They haven't been here. They can't make it back. They picked out the home but have to return home during this 10-day window. I'm here for them. I represent them. I'm there at fiduciary responsibility for them, and so I give them what they need to have to make the decision.
Yeah, and I'm glad that I pointed that out. And the only reason why is because a lot of people have homes, in other states and everything. I just
Yes.
wanted to make sure. So I'm glad you clarified that. Okay, so how does somebody receive the results?
They receive the results electronically. They're going to log into a website, my website, and they're going to get an electronic version of it, which makes it easy to read. It could be printed off. They're going to get it in that form, and then they're going to make the repair request list with their realtor right on the spot there. They're using the pertinent issue report or summary report that I give them.
So when you're working with a real estate agent, I want to talk about how do they go about, let's say they want to talk to you and they want to find out whether their home, I don't know how to say this, but it's the right home for you to look at.
Well,
Let's talk about that.
All of the homes are the right home. The expertise transfers to any home. But really where you're going to get the most value is in a home that is non-traditional in its construction technique, materials of construction, or the actual engineering design. And all of that stuff falls right into the wheelhouse of my strengths, my training, my background, all of that.
How long have you been doing this?
I've been here in the Valley doing it for over 23 years. I came here from California, and before that I was doing engineering work there. I'm licensed there as well as an engineer.
So the best thing for, let's say, a real estate agent is listening right now and they've said, I would like to have him,
add me to their team. I'm sure they have someone they've worked with in the past, but hey, just add me to the team. You'll have overflow work, and you can't not use another good inspector. Really, you just have to have that for ease of schedule.
So what do they do? Just pick up the phone and talk to you and then find out, and you talk to them about their home. It's a consultation kind of thing?
Consultation, yes. Talk to that. Give them pricing on what it's going to look like, square footage, about how much time it would take. They're going to call me up so that they can get a good comparison and feel. They may ask for a sample report. I'm happy to provide it.
Okay, again, if you're a real estate agent out there, he wants to talk to you, but if you got to have the right home, he's saying that he can do almost any home, obviously, but if you're going to use his expertise services, you might want to, get the value with having a house that's a little bit more higher end. Is that correct?
Yes.
Am I
yes.
saying it right?
Well,
I don't know how to say it.
It's for a custom home. That's
It's
really
for
the best way to say it.
custom homes out there.
Yes.
But there's custom homes all over the valley.
There are custom, semi-custom, yes, and those would fall into that too. And it's typically when you're, again, diverging from a traditional design motif or design parameters that they have, and you'll have that play into the engineering expertise.
Did you say that the flat roofs, did they...
They don't age so well here at Arizona. They're very common, so they just need attention and maintenance. So that particular design and the roofing that goes into it, there's lots of great roofing companies out there. I have a few that I work with and recommend when we come across that improvements that need to be made. So we talk with them.
And with the real estate agent that you're working with them, when they come in, do you also help them? Let's say if they say, look, what do we need to do to get this right? Do we need to move this wall out? Do you do that too?
Yes, that's part of the beauty of the report. My report's going to be significantly different in that respect. It's going to talk about what needs to be repaired. It's going to recommend, again, is it DIY? Can you just go down to Home Depot or Lowe's? Or can you do this yourself in some other fashion? Or do you really need to have a semi-skilled person? Maybe you're not comfortable with electricity, so you don't want to work with it, so you'll hire a professional for that. But there's others that are truly foundation, lifting of that, all of those types of things that fall into a more engineering expertise.
Well, you can check him out on his website. It is engineeringhomeinspections.com. He is one of the only engineers that also inspects homes here in the Valley. So you could check him out on that website. You can also call him. His phone number is 480-341-2888. 2664. He's valley-wide, and he's rated with the Better Business Bureau, obviously insured as well. What would be your final words for today? What would you like to talk about to them?
I would like to talk about them just to call me to have a question. They may have a question on a home. They may already have had an inspection. That's another thing where I get called in frequently.
Let's talk about that.
Yes, to be backed up, to find out again, the home was inspected. The home inspector is limited on what they can say. They say, go see a professional, go get an expert's opinion. Well, I am that expert, so they end up calling me. I go back in. I may or may not find some things that were a little different. I can also relieve them of any worries they have if we look at it, particularly foundation or roofing, missing members in the trusses. I also do a manufactured home. HUD certification requires a foundation certification for a manufactured home. I do many of those where I have to crawl under, look at the foundation, and make sure that it meets the HUD requirements.
So there's lots of different things that you do. Is all of the information about you on your website?
It is. It is. You can go there, look at the blog. You can look at the About Me page. You can look at the homes splash page, and it will have all of that information on there.
Well, I think it's really interesting, and not everybody is that you're an engineer and also that you inspect the homes. Yes, he can do almost anybody's home, but if you have a custom home, you're going to want to get what really the right thing, right?
I agree, yes.
I agree. It makes sense. If it just makes sense, just call him.
Just call.
The phone number is 480-341-2664. His website is engineeringhomeInspections.com. He's rated with the Better Business Bureau. He's valley-wide. Yes, maybe you're just listening to this and you own one of those kind of homes. Maybe you're a real estate agent out there who's got a listing for $1 million home. They're the perfect.
They are pre-listing. I do those so you can have a good impression of what's going to be asked of you to repair, or what's going to be something that you may leave as, say, oh, that's a maintenance item, and you may leave that to the new buyer. But pre-listing inspections, I do that as well.
The number to call again is 480-341-2664. It's engineeringhomeInspections.com.
If